Okay, so there was this article in the Rolling Stone that I was reading. I haven't finished it, but basically it's talking about treating mental illness with things like LSD and ecstasy and stuff like that. And as somebody who's taken both of those things, I don't really see the value in it. At least for me, in the article it said that it actually worked for some people, and some people have had good results with it, with PTSD and stuff like that. But I don't think I would ever try it just because I have experience with the drug and it didn't go so well. The same goes for weed. I don't like it anymore. I used to smoke it a lot. I don't like it anymore. Smoke weed every day. No, I was just thinking.
Oh, you're just practicing. So,
Well, you still smoke weed.
yeah, but like, so why'd you stop? Why'd you stop smoking?
I didn't like what it was doing to me. Last time I smoked weed, I got so crazy I wanted to shoot myself. I wanted to go to the hospital and shoot myself, or go on I'd find a billboard and then climb on top of a billboard and then wait till like the news helicopters came and stuff and then shoot myself. And I was like, wait, this is messed up. So I took Haldol, which is like an antipsychotic that I just had lying around, and I started to feel better, and I was like, okay, yeah.
When was that?
That time that you gave me.
Oh, I mean that's just being high right
That was it wasn't good though, and it didn't help with any of my symptoms. That's the thing, because
Yeah.
they're talking about treating it, not just like people trying to get high. It's actual treatment. People want to get better. Although I can see how maybe ecstasy might help, because I mean I used to do that when I was working at Forever 21, and that's what helped me with my
Yeah,
job.
I mean, with my experience, I think the 4 to 7 hour rush or roll you get from ecstasy is not worth like the 5-day come down. That
Well,
leaves you like
if it becomes legal, they can like make different versions of it. You know, like they can expand on the drug. I don't know.
I guess.
I mean,
I only tried it once, and I was just like, whoa. I liked it. I mean, I enjoyed it while it was going on, but like it had this slow, gradual come down, and by the end of the night, I was.
were you drinking a lot of water?
Yeah, I was drinking plenty of water. This was like during drum corps season. Actually, no, this was during the beginning of the school year. But I mean, at the same time, I was drinking enough water. Like I was drinking more water than usual. And,
Yeah.
By the end of the night, like I took it one night, and then by the end of the next night, I was just starting to feel irritable. I couldn't speak. I felt like my IQ dropped like 50%. Went outside, tried to call my friend. I had to keep apologizing. Like, sorry, I can't express myself. You know, I'm on a long MDMA come down right now. And he's like, no, I feel you, man. And it sucked because he just had the best acid trip of his life. And we literally called each other at the same second, like, oh my god, we need to talk. But we never actually saw each other that day because he had to go to church or something. Because he had he was reborn through LSD. He became all religious and everything for like a couple of
Yeah.
months.
Some people use it for like spiritual reasons. I used to be a spiritual person. Now I'm not. There are some things that I'm still iffy about that haven't been proven, like astral projection and stuff like that. You know? Yeah, stuff like that.
Have you ever had an out-of-body experience?
Out of body experience. I've had an experience where I was like looking at my body, and it's like I was standing next to myself. It was when I was working at Forever 21, and it was getting to me. So
This was just a normal like you every day, sober, just walking.
yeah, I was sober. I was sober, and I was just really depressed. And usually I would be hallucinating. Like there would be little children, like they were hanging themselves around the nooses, and they'd be hanging from the ceilings. And that was like just the normal stuff, and I got used to that. But the hand thing was just so weird.
Yeah, I've never had an actual like out of... Wait, actually, no. I've only had one out-of-body experience. That was when I had malaria.
Yeah, then you were probably delirious.
And another time when I was in that ambulance, beginning of this year, I like, passed out.
When you had the anxiety attack?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, that's what,
Like,
that's what'll happen.
I found it, because that's why, see, like, I thought I died. Because, like, you know how usually you'll be going, like, you'll get really bad, and then
palpitations, and it feels like you're gonna die,
yeah,
basically.
I actually, like, blacked out, so I was like, well...
And that's one of the symptoms. That's why it's like, that's why I get to, like, I need my medication. It's not like I'm some junkie. I don't want to pass out in public. But if they can find a way to get ecstasy to do stuff like that, or if they take some parts of ecstasy, I really don't see...
See, the reason...
LSD.
What makes ecstasy is the amount of serotonin it makes you release. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it were any lesser, it wouldn't count as ecstasy anymore. So I don't think...
Well, that goes for the, like, antidepressants. It controls your serotonin levels, too. So...
Yeah, I don't know, though. Because, like, you feel depleted for, like, a whole week after that. And especially if you have, like, a mental disorder. Like, for me, you know, the only thing I can think of
Close
is,
the
like,
window.
the only thing I can think of that's even, like, remotely close to, like, an anxiety disorder is, like, minor OCD. Where, like, if I take 3 steps, I have to take 4 steps, something like that.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, and for me, you remember me growing up. Wait, there, 4. You know what I'm saying?
See, the quote is, "It's really our best shot at solving the veteran suicide crisis," says one Marine who underwent MDMA therapy. So, he underwent it.
Yeah, but, like, I know. I'm just saying, like, if that happened to me, you know, in my condition, I wonder what it could do to someone that had, like, a legitimate mental...
But, like, if they're doing it underground, it's like, if you can bring it to the forefront, at least you can be observed by a doctor, and they can do, like, double-blinded studies like they do for every other drug before releasing it.
Mm.
Yeah. But my experience with, like, LSD, it's not that different from, like, just when I'm hallucinating. It was just kind of more annoying, and it made my stomach hurt, and I think I puked.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah.
Remember, when was the last time I did see...
And the difference between, like, me when I'm hallucinating and me when I take LSD, it's like, LSD, I know I've taken it, so it's like, when is this thing gonna kick in? Like... I think this stuff isn't working, and then... Yeah. But it's pretty much the same.
I mean, the same...
The visual hallucinations were a bit more, like, stupid. Like, it was more just, like, kaleidoscope patterns. Like, usually I see stuff, like, people and bodies and stuff. That was more, like, stereotypical 60s. That's what I was seeing.
For me, like, I mean... This used to be the same way with, like, weed way back in the beginning when I was first starting out. Like, the only time I ever got, like, kaleidoscope vision from LSD, either LSD or LSA, like, either of them, was that first time I tried it here in, like, middle school.
Mm-hmm.
Second time I tried it here in, like, middle school. And then after that, it just became more, like, everything would look the same, except, like,
there's subtle differences.
The walls would have, like, patterns on. Like, I would still be tripping. Like, don't get me wrong. I just, like, I would
it would be more about your perception.
Yeah, like, literally, like, the edges on everything became rounder. Everything looked more symmetrical. And, like, everything has, you know, like, fractals?
What are those?
It's like those mathematical equations that form art. And, like, it's, and yeah, okay. I would see stuff like that on the wall. So it's like everything was, like, coherent. But I never got, like, kaleidoscope vision. But that was still scary as hell. And then another thing I remembered, it's like... Imagine, you see how this is reality, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever had deja vu? Almost kind of feels like it's more real than real, right?
Right. I've had a lot of deja vu recently.
Whenever I do that, even when I used to smoke weed a lot, whenever I would do that, I would feel like I transcended into a more real version of the world. So like life felt more real, and that's like
things felt more the world felt more like the world.
Yeah, and that's when I started treating, like, my environment like toys. Because, like, I'd be walking around, and I'd see Philip, like, I don't know, rambling about something insignificant, trivial, I'd be like, mortal stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, it's always, like, a gradual, like I've never really experienced a true onset. Like it doesn't hit you like a rush. It's more like over the course of time, it just gradually gets.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I was saying when I was like, is this stuff even good? And you're like asking, and then that's when it hits you.
The first thing you notice is, I usually get talkative. Like I'll be sitting there, and then I'll be like getting talkative, and then like my body will feel numb, and then I remember last time I was in here, I think it was beginning of this year. See these things? They started looking like window panes in a church.
Yeah.
So it started looking like stained glass. And I was looking around like, what am I doing? What? And then you left. Ziza was still there. We started talking about some like Poolsville crap or whatever. And then I went to go use the computer. And that was. They were
talking about shrooms also, apparently. And how a lot of people are actually opposed to it. Especially the psychedelics.
Shrooms are dangerous.
The MDMA, though. Let me see.
Enough psilocybin is fatal.
It said so far in the MDMA PTSD trial, 0 participants haven't improved at all, and more than 80% have recovered to the extent that they don't qualify as having PTSD anymore. So, I mean...
With MDMA?
Yeah. MDMA, I feel like that has some potential, because it doesn't change your entire perception of, like, the world.
That's what I'm saying, yeah, it's just a stimulant. Well, I mean, actually... MDMA,
you know what I mean,
yeah.
Like...
From, like, what's it called? From, like, it doesn't change your perspective of the world from, like, a, is there even a word for this?
It's like your perception.
It's like it changes your perception of the world, but like not in an all-encompassing sense.
How you process things.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like because I remember like when I was on MDMA, like it did change my perception because I was like okay with everything.
Your thought processing.
Yeah,
like,
you know what I'm saying.
That's
but
what
like
it is.
with psychedelics, it's more like an all-encompassing change. Like I literally thought I was in like a different dimension.
Right.
I did go to a different dimension. I'm telling you.
Well,
like when your trip lasts 12 hours, I mean, you gotta occupy yourself somehow.
I hear weed is bad for anxiety, though.
Weed?
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the person, honestly.
Because, I mean, do you still have anxiety?
I've always had, like, different anxieties, but, like, I had testing anxiety, which I still have, stuff like that. Like, when I'm taking a test, my teachers usually think I'm cheating because my eyes are, like, darting back and forth, and not just because I'm nervous. Anxiety, I don't really have social anxiety anymore. I used to, really, when I was really small. I do get, like, anxiety whenever Dad says that I'm not going to graduate, stuff like that, you know?
Just regular anxiety.
Yeah, basically.
But when you were having, like, the panic attacks and stuff, were you smoking weed at that time?
Let's see.
Or did you start smoking weed and notice something was different?
No, that was when, wait, you were in the hospital. That was when I was, like, drinking a lot.
Drinking a lot?
That's when I started, like, drinking like hell. Like, during the summer, I got wasted a couple times, and then, like, around when winter started, like, when, like, end of fall started, that's when I started, like, drinking, like, because Dad went to Congo, so I was just, like, chugging, you know?
Oh. Yeah. I went on a date the other day. Basically, it was so bad that I was just drinking and drinking and drinking. That's why you saw me come in that night, and I was just puking.
You puked? I didn't notice.
You didn't see... Well...
I had earphones. I mean, I went to go finish watching TV. I was watching
He was one of those people who was, like, really ignorant and said, like, no, depression is, like... Everybody gets depressed. And I was like, yeah, okay, I get it. Everybody gets anxiety.
Your date becomes a debate?
No, it was like everybody gets anxiety. And he's explaining, you know, sometimes things don't go your way. And, you know, you don't get that promotion. And I'm like, okay. And then I explained some of my story and stuff. And he was like, his mind was blown. Like, he didn't even bother to think that some people have it that bad. And he's like, well, then maybe they could need... Because he said, I'm, like, anti-medication or something like that. How old is your friend? I don't know.
Sounds young.
Old enough to be at a bar. And drink.
Philip's old enough to be at a bar.
And drink.
Well.
But yeah. Maybe I was puking from the date.
Yeah, but that's the thing, you know, I think it's because, Now, I don't have like a dependency on weed or anything, but I do remember distinctly that during that period of time, I stopped. Mainly because I was kind of broke, but
Right.
like the last thing I spent my money on.
That's ultimately how I stopped doing drugs. I just ran out of money.
Yeah, like I bought those seeds, which cost like $25, and then that was the last thing. And you know, like you can smoke weed every day, but like after a decent acid trip, you don't even feel like doing drugs for a while.
Yeah.
So I was like on a month-long kind of like come down break thing, and I was just drinking a lot.
Right.
And that's when I started doing a lot of like street drugs, like Percocet.
I've never done Percocet.
I did.
I did the Oxycontin or whatever. It didn't do anything.
Ambien, you know, I was just trying. I was basically just like trying pharmacy medication.
Ambien, yeah, you got Ambien from me.
I know. Yeah.
So obviously I've tried Ambien. Now I just use my Ativan for the sleep.
Yeah, I tried that too. I mean, I only tried that because what's his face came in. He was like, I was gonna give this to my, but here, pop it. I was like, oh, just pop it. I was like, oh.
Philip.
Yeah, because Philip. So I was just like, well, you know, I'm a confused teenager. I might as well.
He blames everything on being bipolar.
Where?
Philip. He's like, no, you don't understand. I'm bipolar. That's why I show up at your house unannounced. I was like, what? Exactly. What the? Oh gosh. And that's also why I don't pick up the phone.
Yeah, that's another thing. I was also like meeting like really crazy, insane people. Like I started doing like K2, which is really bad.
Yeah, because once you get into the drugs, you meet like the network of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I had money at the time, so I had friends at the time.
Like he was making, like I started, like there was this one drug, it was like what, it was like Etodolac, like stomach medication, you know?
I don't know.
It's a stimulant.
NyQuil or something like that.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, I started drinking lean.
Robitussin.
Yeah, Robitussin, freaking Benadryl, like all, and like the thing is
Benadryl.
It's not even. See, that's more. I feel like it's more of just like you do it so that you can say you did, because the experience.
Right.
First of all, you can't document the experience because you don't know when it's happening. That's one thing I noticed. Second of all, it sucks. It's scary. Like you're on edge the whole time. You feel like everything feels off. Like salvia off. Like where you just.
I've never done salvia.
If you go into salvia expecting like a weed experience, you are going to get grabbed by the bootstrap.
Well, I don't like weed, so.
Well, no, I'm just saying like in general people. That's the mistake they make.
Oh. Because it's a plant that looks like my thing.
Freaking DPT. Like,
when it starts to sound like it was made in a lab, definitely.
Right. DPT, PCP. Damn.
Well, what I was saying was Benadryl. Benadryl, it makes my hallucinations worse. And in the hospital, I was like, I can't sleep. They kept saying, well, just take Benadryl. I'm like, that makes my hallucinations like 10 times worse. Well, then just take trazodone. Then take some trazodone. That gives me headaches. And then they're like, I don't know what you want me to say.